Hey guys, I'm California. Welcome to Zay's Crochet and Macrame. Today I'll be showing you how to make Crochet Lacey Leg Warmers. Now these leg warmers are adjustable to just about any size with a corset, lace, tie back to easily adjust so that they look cute and sexy as well as fit nice and secure. These leg warmers are great for the winter and fall, and they also make great gifts for the holidays. You can wear them with a skirt or dress or with jeans underneath some high boots, any style that you would like to keep your legs nice and warm. So if this video was useful to you, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below and let me know how this tutorial was, if it was easy, medium, or hard. Please subscribe for more content and feel free to follow me on Instagram at Zay's Crochet to be updated with my latest patterns. Alright guys, let's get started.
So in this tutorial, we will be using a yarn threading needle, size 3.25mm crochet hook, and crafting scissors. I'll be using Cascade Yarn's Ultra Pima Cotton Fine. You can also use the regular Cascade Pima Cotton yarn if you would like. Personally, I just like using the Fine, but you can use any cotton brand that you prefer. Here are the yarn measurements in case you are using a different brand. Now I'll be using about 3 skeins of the Cascade Ultra Pima Fine. If you're using regular Ultra Pima cotton, then you will only need 2 skeins. Now go ahead and roll your yarn into a ball like so, and let's get started. Now to start, we're going to go ahead and make our slip knot nice and tight. Put that right on our hook and secure it. And we're going to start off by doing 50 chains. So to do a chain, we wrap our yarn around our hook and just pull through. Wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through. So we're going to go ahead and do this for a total of 50 chains. Now we've done our 50 chains, and we're going to start our first row with double half crochets. So we're going to skip our first 2 chains and do our double half crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So we will wrap our yarn around our hook, go through the chain stitch, wrap the yarn around the hook again, and pull through for a total of 3 loops on our hook. Wrap our yarn around our hook again and pull through all 3 loops. And there is our first double half crochet. Now we're going to go ahead and do 1 double half crochet into every chain going all the way across for our first row. So we will have a total of 48 double half crochets. Okay, so we now have finished our first row, and we're going to move on to our second row. So we're going to chain 2, turn our work around, do a double half crochet into our first stitch. So right next to our chain 2 there, go for our first double half crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and do a double half crochet into the second stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double half crochet into the second stitch. And we're going to continue the same pattern going all the way across to the other side for our second row. So I've made it down to the end of my second row and I have 3 stitches left. So I'm going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, double half crochet into the second stitch, and then I'm going to end with another double half crochet into the last stitch. So we've now finished our second row, and now on to the third. We're going to chain 2, turn our work around, and we're going to do a double half crochet into every stitch going all the way across. So double half crochet into the first stitch, double half crochet into the second stitch, and then we're going to do a double half crochet as well into the chain 1 space. So continue this to the other side. So we now have a total of 48 double half crochets to complete our third row. So for the fourth row, we're going to chain 2, turn our work around, and we're going to skip the first 2 stitches, and we're going to work into the third stitch from the hook. So I will start off by doing a double crochet. So I wrap my yarn around my hook, and then I go into the third stitch, pull the yarn through, wrap my yarn around my hook again, pull through the first 2 loops, wrap the yarn around again, and pull through the next 2 loops for a double crochet. Then we're going to go ahead and do a second double crochet into that same stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 more double crochets into the same stitch. And then we're going to chain 1, skip the next 2 stitches, and do a single crochet into the third stitch from the hook. So we go through, pull the yarn through, wrap the yarn around the hook, and pull through 2 loops for a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next 2 stitches, and work into the third stitch from the hook, doing the same thing we did in the first one. So do 2 double crochets, and then a chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next 2 stitches, and single crochet into that third stitch. And we'll continue doing this all the way across the row. Now I've made it down to the end of my fourth row, and I'm going to chain 1, and then end with a single crochet into the last stitch. Now we have completed our fourth row. So for our fifth row, we're going to chain 4, turn our work around, and we're going to start working into the chain 1 space in between the 4 double crochets. So we do our double crochet, and then a second double crochet into the same chain 1 space, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets into that same space. Then we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to do a double crochet into the top of the single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1 and do 2 double crochets into the chain 1 space, chain 1 again, and 2 more double crochets into that same space. Chain 1, double crochet on top of that single crochet, and another chain 1. and we're going to continue this to the end of the row. Alright, so we've now made it to the end of our 5th row, and we're going to end by doing a chain 1 and a double crochet into the chain 2 space. And now for our next row, the 6th row, it will be the same exact pattern that we just did, going all the way across. So we're going to chain 4, turn our work around, do 2 double crochets into the same chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into that same space. Then we will chain 1 and do a double crochet onto the top of the next double crochet. And we're going to continue the same pattern for a total of 42 more rows of lace. So we will have a total of 45 lace rows with a total of 48 rows altogether. Okay, so we have now finished our 48th row for a total of 45 lace rows. Now I did mean to mention that if you are not using the Ultra Puma Fine and you are using the regular cotton, then you would only need to do 40 rows instead of 45 for the lace. Okay, so now we are going to move on to our 49th row, starting with chain 2. Then we're going to turn our work around, and we're going to do double half crochets all the way across. So we're going to go into our first chain 1 space there with a double half crochet, and then do another double half crochet into the next stitch on top of that double crochet. Then we will do another double half crochet on top of the next double crochet stitch, and then we're just going to skip the chain 1 space and continue working our double half crochets on top of our double crochets. And then we'll do a double half crochet into the next chain 1 space, but we will skip the next double crochet and do a double half crochet into the chain 1 space. Continue that all the way across. Okay, so we have now finished our 49th row for a total of 48 double half crochets. So now on to row 50. We're going to chain 2, turn our work around, wrap our yarn around our hook, go through the first loop, pull the yarn through, wrap our yarn around, pull through 2 loops. And then we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook and go through the second stitch and pull the yarn through with a total of 4 loops on our hook as we pull through 2 and have 3 loops left on our hook. Wrap our yarn around and pull through the last 3 loops. And this is for a double crochet decrease cluster. So after that, we're going to chain 1 and do our next double crochet cluster decrease. Wrap our yarn around our hook, go through the first stitch, pull the yarn through, wrap our yarn around, pull through 2 loops, wrap our yarn around, go through the second wrap our yarn around, pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to wrap your yarn around and pull through all 3 loops for a double crochet decrease cluster. And then chain 1, and we're going to continue to do this going all the way across. Okay, so we have now finished our 50th row, and this is what your work should look like. So now on to row 51, our final and last row. We're going to turn our work around, and we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch right here above the double crochet decrease cluster. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain one space. And we're going to start to do a peacock stitch. So for a peacock stitch, we are going to chain 3, and then we're going to slip stitch back into the same chain 1 space. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, and we're going to do another peacock. So we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch back into the same chain 1 space. And we're just going to continue to do this same pattern going all the way across to the other side. So we have now completed our last and final row, and now we are going to cast off. So get your crafting scissors, snip off your yarn, and we're just going to tighten our yarn so that it doesn't come undone. We're going to do another knot. And we have now completed our first leg warmer. Now we're going to get our sewing needle, and we're just going to sew through all of our loose ends so that they do not stand out. We are now going to make our tie string for our adjustable corset lace crossback. And by doing this, we are simply going to make 800 chains. Yes, 800. So get a counting and see when you're done. Okay, so I have now completed my 800 chains, and I'm going to go ahead and cast off, and my tie string is completed. Okay, we are now officially completed with our first leg warmer. I'm loving it, you're loving it, it's looking amazing. So now to tell the difference between the front and back is you can usually tell by the last row. This side is going to be the inside going along the leg, the other side will be on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and fold our leg warmers like so that we can get our tie string up in there. So we're going to start off by feeding it through this first chain one space all the way down at the bottom corner here. Then I'm going to take the other end and go through that other chain one space on the other side. We're going to pull that baby through, and then we're going to pull them through from both sides and try to make it as even as we can by taking both ends and just pulling through to make sure they're both through evenly. Okay, and then we're just going to loosen it up a little bit. And we're going to take one side, bring it over to the other end. We're going to skip the first chain one space there and go into the next chain four space and pull it through. And so for each time we pull the string through, we're just going to skip a row, skip every other row. So now we're going to go to the other side, do the same exact thing, skip one row, go to the next one. And skip the next row and put it through the next one. So we're just going to continue doing the same thing, going all the way up.
I'm all the way up, all the way up, I'm all the way up.
All right, we have made it all the way up to the top of our leg warmer. So now we're going to once again skip the second to last row, pull through the last row all the way at the top, and go right through those chain one spaces. And we have now completed our leg warmer officially. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys the basics on how to get your leg warmer on. So you're going to have to start off by just making it very loose at the top and slowly loosening each row as you try to pull it on your foot. It can be a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it gets to be easier. So I just usually pull 2 strings at a time, working my way down. Makes it easier to adjust and get on. And then once you have your leg warmer on, you tighten it all the way up and you tie it and you're done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe for more content. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on these leg warmers. Are they cute? Are they sexy? Are they warm? How are they doing for you? Was it easy for you? What did you think? And yeah, don't mind my son's feet right there intruding on my video. But yeah, so go ahead and start tightening it from the bottom, working your way up so that you can have your leg warmer fit nice and snug. Alright, so I've tightened it all the way to the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a nice little bow so we can look all cute. And now we are good to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful day.